Case intake note, recovered from the first archive pass. The display climbs to 98.6 while the house is empty, then drops 1/10 of a degree when the witness holds their breath. The timestamp clicks forward in a room where every clock has been unplugged. The witness repeats the wrong date and starts crying before they understand why. The first question is not what happened, it is why. A smart thermostat locked at human body temperature while the room breathes in cycles already knows the witness. The safe explanation is a witness misreading the tag. For almost 1 minute, that explanation works. Then the evidence stops matching itself and starts matching the witness, and the room stops feeling like a place people can leave. The witness realizes the room knows which lie they were about to tell. The nearest person steps back, like the evidence has recognized them. The archive can keep its labels. The story belongs to the person who realizes. A smart thermostat locked at human body temperature while the room breathes in cycles has started answering them personally. A light flickers once, then holds steady, as if someone has warned it. The next contradiction is not bigger, it is closer. The corrected copy changes first. Now the witness has to decide whether the evidence is a warning, a lure, or a rehearsal. The system is not regulating air, it is training the room to imitate a body well enough to keep one. The opening no longer looks like the first scene. It looks like the moment the room chose who would remember it. At dawn, the thermostat adds a second temperature labeled guessed. The last sound is a voice practicing the witness's answer. The file ends because the archive runs out of procedure, not because the witness runs out of fear. The witness reaches for an ordinary explanation, then stops. Someone laughs once, too quietly, then asks to leave without looking away. The room remembers the witness before the witness enters. Who told you that? The witness asks, and every light in a sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight answers by going still. The consequence arrives through one clear detail. A reflection arrives half a second before the person casting it. Ordinary procedure fails because a person changes before the evidence does. The room narrows around the witness. A staffer pockets the key, then cannot remember which door it opens. A private memory becomes physical evidence in front of strangers. The cycles stops being information and starts sounding like a demand. The evidence is sealed, but the seal is warm. The private cost arrives quietly. Someone has to choose whether to trust their memory or the object in front of them. Solving the case matters less than what the witness has to give up. A small detail turns personal when the cycles answers back. The danger is not death, it is being edited out of your own account. The room goes quiet only after someone says the wrong name. When the cycles returns, the room has learned the witness's next move. The final tag is signed in handwriting the witness has not learned yet. A witness looks for permission to laugh, then realizes nobody else heard the same thing. Someone keeps one hand in their pocket because touching the evidence now feels like answering it. The personal cost lands in a practical gesture, a badge removed, a door avoided, a name crossed out twice. A hand stays above the table, a name is avoided, and one breath arrives too late. The room pressures the witness before anyone understands what noticed them first. The choice lands before the mechanism becomes clear. The final ordinary sound is not a scream. It is the cycles, repeated once, after everyone agrees the room is empty. By now, a sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight feels rehearsed. The recording catches a breath that does not belong to anyone on the log. The witness is no longer investigating the event. The event is testing the witness. The lights stay ordinary, which makes the contradiction worse. The second playback removes the safest explanation. Nobody can blame spectacle for what changed. The file tries to stay procedural, but every explanation asks one person to give up a piece of what they remember. That is where the horror leaves the object and enters the room. A rational explanation almost survives. A camera clock drifting under load. Then the clean recording keeps the damage and loses the voice. And someone in the room has to abandon the safest answer. The witness stops asking what the object is and starts asking what it has already practiced on them. The air has the flat, wet smell of a room after power has been off too long. The second witness is listed as present tomorrow. The room gives the witness one more chance to deny it. The first person in the room forgets a name they had just written down. Then the cycles answers with the detail they were hiding. What hurts is how ordinary the evidence remains. Dust shifts across the table before the door opens. The witness understands that touching it would feel like agreement. The file can call it a discrepancy, but the witness has already changed. By the final pass, the evidence is not louder, it is closer. The witness transcript quotes a sentence nobody has spoken yet. Stay with the witness after the obvious explanation fails. The room does not become louder, it becomes more personal. A camera clock drifting under load fails because the room remembers the witness before the witness enters. The evidence is sealed, but the seal is warm. One more practical detail changes what the witness can trust. A smart thermostat locked at human body temperature, while the room breathes in cycles, stays ordinary enough to touch. And that is why touching it feels like answering. The next proof belongs to a person, not a file. Every explanation asks one person to give up a piece of what they remember. The recording ends with the table waiting for another hand. The horror keeps shrinking until it fits inside one remembered detail. The corrected copy changes first. No, that's tomorrow. The sentence lands wrong because the cycles has already filed it as yesterday. How does it know? A second silence arrives after the room should be safe. A mislabeled intake file almost explains it. Then the final tag is signed in handwriting the witness has not learned yet. Keep the camera on the person who tries not to react. The cycles makes the room feel chosen instead of observed. The archive can seal evidence, but it cannot seal what the witness remembers next. The safest explanation breaks in a human place. A hand stops, a name disappears, and the cycles waits in plain view. No one in a sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight says the fear out loud. A corrupted export from an older case still sounds useful until the second playback removes the safest explanation. The room gives the witness one more chance to deny it. The witness lowers their hand before anyone tells them what the evidence is. The room remembers the witness before the witness enters. Stay with the witness after the obvious explanation fails. The cost is small enough to deny and personal enough to ruin them. A corrupted export from an older case fails because the second playback removes the safest explanation. The clean recording keeps the damage and loses the voice. The reply is almost too quiet to file. Not yet. The words come from below. A sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight, and every safe explanation stops working. Wait, did you hear that? The witness asks. And a sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight seems to hold its breath around the cycles. Who answers when nobody has spoken? Don't touch it, someone says when the cycles answers out of turn, but the warning arrives one breath too late. Please don't make me answer it, the witness whispers, but the cycles rings once from inside a sealed upstairs bedroom in a house that should be cooling overnight. Why does it know their voice? That isn't me, the witness says. Then the playback uses the same panic, half a second early. A camera clock drifting under load almost explains it. Then the evidence is sealed, but the seal is warm.